All right, and we're back from your little break here. So make sure your cell phones get put back in the caddy, or they should be there already. But I want to take just a couple of minutes to get us going on what we're going to be working on for the rest of the hour. So right now, obviously, we've been focused on the last little bit on citizenship and then that naturalization process. Remember, naturalization is that one of those ways that people can become U.S. citizens. We said there were four different ways to become U.S. citizens. And as a quick review, you remember one, if you're born on U.S. territory, any land that's owned by the United States, you automatically, doesn't matter who your parents are, you automatically become a U.S. citizen. The second one is if your parents or either of your parents was a U.S. citizen at the time of your birth. Doesn't matter where you're born. You can be born, shoot on Miles or on Mars, excuse me, and you then automatically become a U.S. citizen. The third way was through this naturalization process. So if you immigrate to the United States, so you're coming from a different country and you're not a citizen, remember there's that whole list of things that you have to do in that citizenship process, and that's that process we call naturalization. The fourth way was that if you're not the age of 18, so you're 17 years old or younger, and your parents or one of your parents completes the naturalization process, then you automatically with them become a U.S. citizen. So those were those four ways that we've discussed a little bit. But we want to get into that a little bit more today about that naturalization process, and then also a little bit of review over those five duties and five responsibilities of citizens. So to start us off here, there's this 7 minute long clip that talks about naturalization. And I'm going to go ahead and play that. Hopefully, the volume is up loud enough so that you can hear it. Let me make sure my system volume is up high enough. Let's crank this thing. Well, it's coming through my headset here. That's going to be quite loud. That's okay. I'll bear with it. So here we go. Pay attention. It talks about all those steps in the naturalization process again, but it gets a little bit more in depth about each one of them.
Citizenship is the common thread that connects all Americans. Naturalization is the process by which an immigrant voluntarily becomes a United States citizen. During the last decade, the United States Citizenship and Immigration Services has naturalized more than 7.4 million people, with the top countries of origin being Mexico, India, the Philippines, China, and Cuba. Between October 1st, 2016 and September 30th, 2017, the immigrants' rights group, the National Partnership for New Americans, found that more than 1 million U.S. residents with green cards applied to become citizens, and in fiscal year 2017, 222,000 residents of California alone applied for citizenship. Naturalization allows an immigrant to become a full member of American society. It provides political and civil rights and the ability to participate fully in the democratic process. Rights gained by a naturalized citizen include the right to vote, sit on a jury, travel with a U.S. passport, live in the U.S. without fear of deportation, and hold some public offices whose eligibility is not otherwise restricted. Citizenship may also provide economic benefits, including access to government job opportunities that are not open to non-citizens. Additionally, some employers may treat citizenship as a signal of integration into American society or otherwise discriminate against non-citizens when hiring. The process to become a U.S. citizen includes determining eligibility to become a U.S. citizen, preparing and submitting a Form N-400, attending a biometrics appointment, completing the interview and taking English and civics tests, and taking the oath of allegiance to the United States. We will elaborate on eligibility, preparation, and submission of the Form N-400, the interview process, and the oath of allegiance. The eligibility requirements for naturalization are exhaustive. The applicant must be 18 years of age at the time of filing, be a permanent resident of the United States for at least 5 years, live within the state where he claims residence for at least 3 months prior to filing, demonstrate physical presence and continuous continuous residence within the United States for a required period of time, demonstrate good moral character, demonstrate an attachment to the principles and ideals of the U.S. Constitution, and demonstrate a basic knowledge of English and U.S. history and government. Once eligible, the prospective citizen will need to prepare and then submit a Form N-400, which is the application for naturalization. The Form N-400 is a 20-page application with 18 different parts. Some portions that must be filled out include name, gender, contact information, country of birth, and date that lawful permanent residence began. The most in-depth portion of Form N-400 is Part 12, which is a series of 50 yes or no questions asking the applicant if she's ever had issues with alcohol, spent time in prison, gambled illegally, sold or smuggled illegal drugs, or been involved with acts of genocide, torture, or terrorism, among other things. If she answers yes to any of these questions, she will need to include written explanations for her answers. After submitting the Form N-400, an applicant will receive notice for a naturalization interview. The interview will be held at the USCIS office that serves the region in which the applicant lives, and it may take approximately 20 minutes. During the interview, a USCIS officer will ask questions about an applicant's Form N-400 and background. The citizenship interview allows the USCIS to not only delve into the substance of the applicant's application, but it allows them to also assess her ability to speak, read, and write English. By asking questions regarding the application, the USCIS officer is testing the applicant's English language and communication capabilities. The English test has three components: reading, writing, and speaking. The civics test covers important U.S. history and government topics. The USCIS officer will ask the applicant up to 10 civics questions. There are 100 potential civics questions on national symbols, U.S. history, and political issues such as political parties, voting procedures, and the United States Constitution. To pass the U.S. citizenship test, an applicant must answer 6 out of 10 questions correctly. If the applicant fails the test, she may retake it within 90 days, but if she fails it again, her application for naturalization will be denied, and she must reapply. If approved for citizenship, the applicant will then be provided a notice for an oath and swearing-in ceremony at which a judge will officially make her a U.S. citizen, and she'll receive a certificate showing her new status. At the swearing-in ceremony, she will take an oath of allegiance. By taking the oath, the applicant promises to uphold and protect the country and the foundational ideas underpinning the United States. The oath's language is the following: I hereby declare on oath that I absolutely and entirely renounce and abjure all allegiance and fidelity to any foreign prince, potentate, state, or sovereignty of whom or which I have heretofore been a subject or citizen, that I will support and defend the Constitution and laws of the United States of America against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same, that I will bear arms on behalf of the United States when required by the law, that I will perform non-combatant service in the armed forces of the United States when required by the law, that I will perform work of national importance under civilian direction when required by the law, and that I take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion, so help me God. Over the past year, there has been a crush of permanent residents wanting to start the naturalization process, demonstrating the growth in citizenship applications across the United States. One news outlet reported that in Arizona, naturalization applications jumped 48% over the past 3 years to more than 19,000 last year. The growing caseload has led to a jaw-dropping backlog with 13,680 pending cases in Arizona, with one case typically taking around 9 months to complete. Though it can be a time-consuming process, the advantages of being naturalized usually outweigh the drawbacks, as it grants a permanent resident the ability to proudly call herself a citizen of the United States.
All right. Perfect. So here's where we're at. That obviously got into a little more in depth about that naturalization process. It just sort of a reminder, like it's not easy to become a United States citizen if you have immigrated into the United States. There's a lot of process to go through. There are a lot of things that an immigrant or someone moving into the United States has to go through in order to become that citizen. So, having learned all about that stuff, here is what you're going to have the rest of the hour to work on. So, if you get into classwork, you want to open up this 1.2 5.1 assignment. And in there, you will find this first worksheet, the 5.1 citizen duties and responsibilities. And what you need to do is just simply follow the directions here. It says use the textbook, chapter 5, section 1, pages 120 through 124, to help you fill in the idea web below. Use the bold subheadings to fill in the title that goes on each line. Provide supporting detail next to each of the 5 main ideas on the graphic organizer that would indicate why each of these legal duties is important to maintaining a strong society. So on the first page, in the middle, obviously, is a citizen's legal duty. Those are the 5 things that we've talked about as legal duties. And in the textbook, which if you want to use one of the textbooks in the back of the room, they're on that black bookshelf. They're the blue textbooks. And you could go to this page. But I've also PDF'd and put into the assignment here those pages from the textbook. So you're going to find the 5 bold subheadings of the 5 legal duties of U.S. citizens. Once you put that legal duty in there, though, like the directions say, provide supporting detail next to each of the 5 main ideas that indicate why each of these legal duties is important to maintaining a strong. So put like a sentence or two next to it as to why that's an important duty to maintaining a strong society. Then the second page, you have to do the same thing, but now it's with a citizen's responsibilities. So find those using the bold subheadings in the text from the textbook, and then next to it put like, why is it important in the fact that we need citizens to do these things to maintain a strong society. Sometimes, for some reason, with this worksheet, the formatting can get a little goofy and stuff like that. Just do the best you can, get your information on there. I can tell where you've got the information, okay? And just to show you, like right here, if you click on this, here's the pages from the textbook. They're right in here. So you don't have to go use the textbook if you don't want to. Then you also need to do this chapter 1, section 2. And it tells you the pages from the textbook. In those pages, it shows you that naturalization process, and you're going to list those 1 through 6 that are in the textbook. Don't just list them, though. Don't just put the name. So, like for number 1, put the first thing that a person has to do during that naturalization process, and then take a sentence or two to explain what that is. Again, we got to up the ante a little bit from maybe middle school where you just list them. Now you got to use sentences and describe what those things are. And then lastly, define these 4 terms: naturalization, alien, immigrant, and deport. Those 4 vocabulary words, and those are right in the text. I have also, if you don't want to go use the textbook in the back, I've posted those pages right here from the textbook. So you have those. By all means, use the textbook in class. Make sure you put it back, but in case you don't get it done, you have these if you're going to be working on it in another class in some free time or an advisory or at home over the weekend. So you've got the rest of the hour, again, to be working on these things. If you still haven't finished up that quick writing assignment about the law that you disagree with, that you think needs to be changed or scrapped, you can keep working on that or finish up working on these 2 worksheets. All that stuff is due on Tuesday. If and when you do finish those things up, you have free time. Free, Free. That stands for find reasonable educational entertainment, which could be other civics work. If you have other homework from other classes that you can be working on, so you don't have homework over the weekend, that's not a bad idea. Get out a book and read. I've got books up on my bookshelf over in that side of the room. You can gladly borrow or just take a book and you can even keep it if you'd like to. But find something else to do that you're not distracting from other people getting their work done. Again, if you have any questions, email me. I'm in the building for most of the day. I'll be checking my email. Maybe I can get a chance to pop over during the hour and answer some questions if you have them. Otherwise, get working a little bit and have a great weekend. Stay safe. Remember, there's that Empower game today at 4:45 over at the stadium before the varsity football game, which is a really cool event. I would highly recommend going if you can. But if you don't, no worries. Have a great weekend, and I will see you guys on Tuesday. Later.